This engine shares its bloodline with the legendary GT-R. Same V6 twin-turbo layout, same 3.5 liters of displacement. Same direct injection, same basic philosophy, except Nissan mounted it 3 feet higher and added 2 tons of weight and wrapped it in body-on-frame metal. The question isn't whether it's quick, it's whether the 516 pounds of torque know they've been reassigned to SUV duty. What's it like? Buckle up, my friends. Let's go for a drive. I'm your host, Brian Makse, racer, lover of driving fast, fun things, and on this channel, you get reviews for drivers from drivers. And yes, this engine has some similarities with Nissan's performance vehicles that are often found chasing apexes, but here it's been reassigned to off-road duty and maybe the occasional grocery run. Same excellent engineering, however, but the mission is completely the opposite. And before we get into what this is like to drive, let's have a look at it in a little more depth. Yes, under the hood is a version of the VR35 that otherwise powers Nissan's performance vehicles. Except here it's recalibrated for hauling camping gear instead of apex hunting. Plus the Armada's body-on-frame construction with adaptive air suspension, because apparently Nissan decided the recipe for off-road capability was take a GT-R engine, mount it 3 feet higher, add 2 tons, and give it all-terrain tires. The twin-turbo V6 makes 425 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 516 pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. Transmission's a 9-speed automatic. It is 4-wheel drive with an electronic locking rear diff. Steering's electrically assisted. Front and rear suspensions use double wishbones with adaptive air springs with multiple heights, as well as adaptive dampers. 2-piston front brake calipers, single piston at the rear, and brakes are brake-by-wire, as a matter of fact. Wheels are specific to the Pro-4X, as are these all-terrain tires. Towing capacity is 8,500 pounds, and curb weight of this one is a little over 6,000 pounds. Did you know that 80% of you are not subscribed? Yes, it's true. 80% of you are not subscribed. I checked the data. So if you like the content on this channel, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, make sure you like this, and if you want to support the channel, please hit up our merch store. Links here, links below. Lots of great stuff for driving enthusiasts like us, including our very popular line of Save the Manuals merch. Now back to your regularly scheduled episode. Seating position is proper SUV high, and you've got commanding views of the road and over much of the traffic. Seating position, absolutely top-notch. Lots of adjustment in this steering column, so you don't have to do your impressions of a T-Rex. Love how I'm set up here behind the wheel. What I dig about Nissans is everything feels deliberated rather than defaulted. It's got the intentional ergonomics of a vehicle designed by people who occasionally drive, which in this SUV segment might qualify as radical thinking. The Pro-4X gets quilted leather with the contrasting lava red stitching, and that might sound like a menu item on a steakhouse that's trying too hard, but here it actually works. The seats are supportive without being aggressive, and they'll hold you in place when the corners get interesting or you're off-roading. Plus, highway miles don't feel like penance. They're heated, they're cooled. Massaging isn't available because apparently Nissan decided if you're driving something called Pro-4X, you should maintain some physical connection to reality. This Nissan Connect system has Google built in, which means that's actual Google Maps built into the system, not some software that was developed in 2019 that they expect you to get along with. Voice commands work like you're talking to a competent adult instead of a toddler with selective hearing. It's one of those rare moments when automotive tech integration doesn't feel like they finished it the night before this vehicle was launched. In terms of spaciousness, there's lots of room here in the front row for you and your passenger. Lots of storage here. There's a wireless charger, a couple of cup holders, lots of storage in the armrest, but it is very spacious here, as is the second row. There's tons of room back there, and the third row seems almost usable for humans, but it's definitely reserved for kids. Nissan says there's about 33 inches of legroom back there, and that's up a fair bit from the previous generation. That's the difference between tolerable for an hour and we've called child protective services. Getting back there is easy. It's a one-touch system which tilts and slides the second row forward, and it works exactly once for adults who realize they would rather take Uber instead of contorting themselves into the way back while maintaining their dignity. And fun fact, the climate control system uses a biometric camera to determine the temperature of passengers and direct air accordingly. 0 to 60 happens in about 6 seconds, which is objectively quick and subjectively hilarious for something that's shaped like a shipping container. The sensation isn't violence, it's inevitability. Plant the throttle and weight transfers rearward as physics dictates, turbo spool as thermodynamics demand, and forward progress occurs as momentum insists. It's rapid without feeling as athletic as a GT-R, which is perfect because this is a body-on-frame SUV after all. That 516 pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM arrives like a freight train on schedule. Predictable, relentless, and utterly unstoppable. There's no turbo lag, but it's masked by sheer mass and 9 well-chosen gears in the transmission. This doesn't explode with GT-R violence. It surges with the confidence of something that knows it outweighs your concerns. And the best part is you, as the driver, can modulate the delivery of that 516 pounds of torque, because that's a serious amount of torque. This 9-speed automatic is surprisingly good. It holds gears when you need them, and then it upshifts quickly when you don't. And downshifts are rev matched, which I think is Nissan's way of saying, we know you think you're a racing driver. With this selector, you can access one of 8 different drive modes, which will adjust throttle mapping, transmission algorithm, as well as stability and traction control intervention. Sport mode sharpens throttle response, holds gears longer, which matters to drivers like us. Eco dulls everything into submission, which nobody uses. Snow, sand, rock, and mud rut adjust wheel spin management and different behavior. Actually useful off-road, as we've discovered, but completely theoretical on-road. And the funny thing is, in my week behind the wheel with this Armada, I've discovered that the standard default mode is perfectly calibrated, which makes me wonder why they bothered with the other 7 in the first place. Plus, the 4-wheel drive system works exactly as expected, as does the locking rear diff. No taxing this 4-wheel drive system in any of this off-roading, that's for sure. But if I were more serious about off-roading, I'd probably want to get a more aggressive tire than what this comes equipped with from the factory. It has been a couple of years since I drove an Armada, but I really enjoyed that one driving around Nashville. In this new Armada, really impressed with the steering. It seems a little bit quicker than the Armada of old, which is a nice surprise. Plus, it's properly weighted for highway speeds, it's light enough for parking, and substantial enough for confidence when the corners get interesting. It may be a little numb on center, but that's a characteristic of almost every full-size body-on-frame SUV steering system. But in the corners, it loads up predictably as soon as you're off-center. You won't confuse this with GT-R levels of driver involvement, but you'll never wonder where the front tires are pointing. That's not enthusiasm, that's competence in the steering system and the dynamics, and competence is definitely something you want when you're piloting something that weighs 3 tons. Brake feel is excellent. The pedal is responsive, and you've got more than enough stopping power to manage all of this mass. And that despite the fact that it is brake-by-wire, but there's no drama, which is exactly what you want. These brakes perfectly understand the assignment and execute it without any complaints. Let's take a mechanical checkpoint for just a second. We are talking about a body-on-frame SUV, but this suspension with its air springs and adaptive dampers have this thing under control. Dynamically, this entire setup communicates weight transfer in any direction better than any crossover. You feel the squat under acceleration, the dive under braking, the weight transfer in corners. It's not sharp, but it's honest. The chassis tells you what's happening when it's happening, which creates surprising confidence. You're not fighting physics, you're actually negotiating with it, and physics here seems to want to meet you somewhere in the middle. Of course, with a tall center of gravity, you'd expect some body roll, but it's surprisingly at a minimum, and all credit credit is due to this suspension. It works exceptionally well here. It's worth mentioning that the suspension is height adjustable. Standard ground clearance is just shy of 10 inches, and with the suspension raised, it's about 11.5 inches, which definitely helps when we're off-roading on some more serious terrain than what we've experienced during this test. But this is the thing. The Armada exists in the same market as the Lexus GX does, except the GX comes with decades of JD Power Awards. The Armada has, well, a better engine and the scrappy underdog energy of showing up to a yacht club in a perfectly good boat that doesn't have the right name on it. This Armada Pro-4X's greatest achievement isn't its all-around capability and its all-around enjoyable driving dynamics, but for me, it actually makes me care about a Nissan SUV in an era where, for most people, Nissan wasn't even part of the chat. How do you spec yours? Well, I have some thoughts. What you are looking at is a 2025 Nissan Armada Pro-4X, finished in Alpine paint with, of course, the Pro-4X interior. Base price in the US is $73,740. Add the Pro-4X premium package and paint, and you get an as-tested price of $77,720. In Canada, base price is $74,998. The only option here is paint, so as tested is $95,298. When it comes to speccing yours, where Nissan gets you is with paint. There are two-tone options and premium two-tone options in addition to this premium paint. Now, this Alpine metallic is gorgeous, but you'll pay for the privilege. Skip the captain's chairs unless you have only 2 kids and strong opinions about personal space. The split bench second row is standard, seats 8, and maintains resale value. Keep it simple. In the US, include the Pro-4X premium package, add in premium paint like this one, and you're out the door for about 80 grand US. Now, this is owner intel, which is the difference between living with your Armada after purchase versus a week-long loan like I'm doing here. Now, as we know, the Pro-4X gets Pro Pilot Assist 1.1, not the 2.1 system with hands-free capability that's standard on Platinum and higher trims. This matters according to owners. The 1.1 can't follow gentle curves without beeping at you constantly. Most Pro-4X owners disable the steering assist entirely and just use adaptive cruise. And for an SUV like this, that's not a small compromise, especially when competitors offer hands-free systems at this same price point. Second, owners say that real-world fuel economy is crushing EPA estimates. Owners are seeing 20 to 22 miles per gallon on highway versus the rated 18. They say use eco mode with Pro Pilot on flat interstates at 65 to 70, and this twin-turbo V6 actually delivers on its efficiency promises. And that, my friends, is a legit advantage over the old V8. Third, owners say the wireless charging pad overheats iPhones and refuses to charge them. And before you blame Nissan, restart your phone. It's an iOS bug, not a hardware problem. Simple fix that took the owner community about 2 weeks to figure out. And finally, this is interesting. The Armada shares its platform with the global Nissan Patrol, which means Australian aftermarket parts, the bull bars, rock sliders, and snorkels should bolt right on. Previous Armadas were orphaned US-specific designs. This one has 70 years of international support behind it. And thanks to owners for sharing their feedback online, because it's much more meaningful than anything I could discern in a week-long press loan. My verdict, well, let's get fuel consumption out of the way. I'm averaging 15 miles per gallon or 15 liters per 100 kilometers for my Canadian friends, and that's in mixed city and off-road driving. And I'd love to know what owners are getting in the real world, so please drop a comment below. As for this 2025 Armada, yes, it is the GT-R's cousin. But it's the cousin who got an MBA, moved to the suburb, and shows up to Thanksgiving with stories about quarterly earnings instead of lap times. The VR35 is here, delivering 516 pounds of torque with authority, but physics and purpose have fundamentally changed its character. It's not slower, it's different, and for hauling family and towing adventure, different might actually be better. If you need 3-row capability, actual off-road competence, and 8,500 pounds of towing in a package that doesn't feel like punishment, the Armada Pro-4X deserves consideration. It's not the sharpest, not the most refined, not the most prestigious, but it's honest, capable, and surprisingly engaging. And in this full-size 3-row SUV segment, that's either refreshing honesty or a deal breaker depending on what your driveway says about you. And today, spending $80,000 on a Nissan SUV might require justification information to your friends, family, and your own financial anxiety. And if you've purchased one of these Armada Pro-4Xs at this price point, comment with your reasoning. And I want actual logic here, not emotion. And what tipped the scales for you? Was its capability? Was it the engine? Or was it something else? Let me know in the comments. And for me, this is the kind of market research that actually matters, and it's something that Nissan's not really going to tell anyone. Thanks for watching, and if this episode answered some questions about the Armada Pro-4X, well, the like button's right there. You know what to do. And be sure to subscribe if you appreciate the driving dynamics discussion. Otherwise, I could just read the spec sheet over B-roll. And on this channel, we publish reviews when they're ready, not when the YouTube algorithm demands it. And if you're one of those 17 people who wants a GT-R adjacent engine in a body-on-frame SUV that has genuine off-road capability, then Nissan's built this for you. For everyone else, well, you have lots of options out there. I'm Brian Makse. See you on the next one.